No one paid much attention when the old K9, Shadow, wandered into the barracks that morning. At nearly 10 years old, Shadow wasn't part of active duty anymore. His time charging into gunfire and sniffing out IEDs in hostile lands was over. He was retired now, a living legend in the base, walking with a limp and a grey muzzle, still wearing the scars of war. But that morning, something was different. Shadow didn't go to the canteen where he usually begged for scraps. He didn't follow the scent of food or the younger handlers trying to coax him out for a walk. Instead, he walked silently through the hallway of the SEAL barracks and stopped outside a specific locker, one that hadn't been opened in months. He lay down beside it. Not barked. Not scratched. Just lay there, eyes fixed on the locker like it held the key to something only he knew. That locker had belonged to Chief Petty Officer Liam Cole. Liam was one of the best. Quiet. Driven. The kind of man you'd trust with your life in a firefight. And Shadow. Shadow had been his partner. They were inseparable, man and dog. For 5 tours. Dozens of missions. From Afghanistan to Syria to places no one talks about, they'd gone through hell together. But 6 months ago, Liam went missing in action during a covert operation overseas. The mission details were classified. The team returned. Liam didn't. The official word was that he died in a blast, body unrecoverable. But there was no funeral. No flag. No closure. Shadow never accepted it. And that morning, lying beside Liam's locker, he made that painfully clear. Sergeant Maya Torres, a new handler assigned to Shadow's care, was the first to notice him. "Shadow," she whispered, crouching down. "What are you doing here, boy?" Shadow didn't move. His body was tense. His ears twitched, but his eyes didn't leave the locker. Something wasn't right. After a few moments, Torres stood up and walked to the locker. She hesitated. Protocol said not to disturb MIA property, but something about the moment pushed her to act. She gently opened it. The locker creaked, untouched since Liam's disappearance. Inside were a few personal effects, a worn Bible, a folded American flag he kept for comfort, a family photo, a dog tag chain. And taped to the bottom, hidden beneath the shelf, was a thick, black envelope. The hairs on Maya's arms stood up. She peeled it off and slowly opened it. Inside were photos. Dozens. Recon images. Maps. Handwritten notes. Coordinates. And a letter. "If you're reading this, then I'm either dead, or they've tried to erase me. But the mission's not over. They lied. We found something big. It wasn't a weapons cache. It was people. Civilians. Women and children, held underground. Sold. Traded. Forgotten. And someone in our own chain of command is helping them. Shadow knows their way. Trust him. Finish this." Her heart pounded. This wasn't just a goodbye letter. This was a call to arms. She rushed the documents to Commander Rhodes, the SEAL team lead and Liam's closest friend. By that evening, the team had gathered around the dim-lit briefing room. Shadow sat silently at Maya's feet. Commander Rhodes read the letter twice. His face was pale. "No one ever believed Liam would just disappear," he said quietly. "Now we know he didn't." They pulled satellite images. Cross-referenced coordinates. What they uncovered was staggering. A compound in a war-torn region of northern Sudan. Hidden beneath the facade of an abandoned oil facility, it was actually a major human trafficking operation, ruthless, organized, and protected by mercenaries and, worse, someone within U.S. operations. Someone high up. That explained the cover-up. The silence. The erased records. Shadow, they discovered, had been trained to follow a specific scent, one tied to the traffickers. It was a failsafe Liam had created. He'd embedded a command in Shadow. When given the word home, the dog would track back to the last known location of the people they were trying to save. And that's how the mission began. The brass pushed back. A mission based on a dead man's letter and a retired dog. It sounded insane. But Rhodes stood firm. So did Meyer. The SEALs that had served with Liam demanded the op. In secret, they launched. Unofficial. Off the books. If they were caught, there'd be no rescue. No flags. No medals. Only the truth. Shadow led the way. The compound wasn't just hidden, it was a fortress. Booby traps, guards, drones. The team had to rely on old-school tactics, stealth, instinct, and shadow. Twice, they were ambushed. One soldier got hit. Shadow stayed by his side until help stabilized him. At one point, Shadow froze near a dirt mound. The team uncovered a buried tripwire connected to a landmine. If not for him, they would have all been gone. The deeper they got, the worse it became. They found evidence of atrocities. Empty cages. Blood-stained clothes. Even small shoes. And they found Liam's GPS watch. Still working. Inside the lowest level of the facility, they found them. 43 people. Emaciated. Terrified. Alive. And Liam. Chained. Barely breathing. But alive. He'd stayed behind to protect them. They'd faked his death to silence him. But he never gave up. And neither did Shadow. The reunion broke everyone. Even the hardest SEALs wiped tears as Shadow licked Liam's face and laid his head on his chest. They carried Liam out. Freed every soul in that hell. And before leaving, they planted charges. The facility was reduced to rubble. Back home, the Pentagon couldn't deny the truth. Evidence spoke louder than politics. A congressional investigation began. Names were named. Arrests made. Liam received the Silver Star. But he never returned to active duty. He didn't need to. He spent the rest of his days raising awareness for human trafficking victims, speaking quietly about things most people wouldn't believe. And always with Shadow at his side. Shadow became a national symbol of loyalty. Schools painted murals of him. Statues were erected. But to Liam, he wasn't a hero. He was just my boy. The bond between a soldier and his dog had changed lives. Saved them. Exposed evil. And reminded the world of something we often forget. That sometimes, the purest souls walk on four legs. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment below, tell us what you felt, what inspired you, or share your own story of loyalty and courage. And if you believe in honoring the bravery of animals who stand by our side, subscribe to our channel, Justice on Paws, for more real stories of heroism, devotion, and the powerful bond between humans and animals. Because sometimes, justice doesn't come in a courtroom, it comes on four paws.